They want you staring at the borders. They want you arguing about woke culture. Because if they keep you watching the shadow on the wall, they can empty the vault behind you. If you want to know who put us in a $38 trillion chokehold by 2026, you don't look at a soundbite. You look at the ledger. In 1860, the blue team stood for small government. Over time, the roles reversed, and a pattern emerged. The blue team builds. The red team borrows. Because too much is never enough for the wealthy. Start with the full history. For a century, the blue team paid for World War I and World War II. By 1981, the national debt was just $997 billion. Then Ronald Reagan began a midnight raid on the future. He nearly tripled the debt by draining the Social Security surplus to fund tax cuts for the rich. He raised payroll taxes on everyday workers to create a surplus that already existed, then handed the benefits upward. Because for the wealthy, too much has never been enough. George H.W. Bush added $1.56 trillion bailouts, interest on Reagan's loans, and the bill for decisions made long before you ever got a vote. Because the wealthy have always lived by one rule: too much is never enough. The pattern never changes. Sabotage the process. Steal the keys. In 2016, the bipartisan Senate intelligence report confirmed that hackers had access to systems in a position to alter or delete voter data. And when you delete an eligible voter, you subtract a vote. I watched it happen. Caucus rooms packed just to clog the doors. People standing shoulder to shoulder not to participate, but to block. Durham, North Carolina. Electronic poll books failing. Citizens told they had already voted when they hadn't. Confusion spreading. Lines stalling. Doors closing. Subtract 77,000 people across 3 states, and you can engineer a heist. And when the wrong person puts their hand on the Bible, the first thing they do is hand your money upward again. Because too much is never enough for the wealthy, and they expect you to pay the difference. If Maddox sold you a washer with this much spin, you wouldn't need a dryer. George W. Bush took a surplus and blew $6.11 trillion on unpaid wars and tax cuts for the top 1%. They blamed Obama for debt that was actually the bill for the 2008 collapse. They blame Biden for debt that is actually the interest on their own unpaid loans. But when you use subtraction instead of spin, the truth is simple. Here is the true tally of who actually broke this country. Blue team, $3 trillion. Red team, $29.45 trillion. For 40 years, the red team has funneled your money to the people who need it least, the ones who jump through every loophole, exploit every angle, and give nothing back to the country that made their wealth possible. Because too much is never enough for the wealthy, and they've built an entire system to make sure it stays that way. The true downfall isn't just the debt. It's the trick. It's the eligible voter told you already voted, while a billionaire gets another tax break. It's the gate being hacked while the ledger is rewritten. The wrong person was sworn in 2016, and the same loopholes are still being worked today. They have shown again and again they couldn't care less about you. Stop being a victim of the spin. Look at the ledger. Protect the gate. Because if we don't start acting like we the people, there won't be a country left to save. That is the true downfall of this country.